Okay, now we can move forward and talk about the quarterfinal matches that we are most excited about. So let's get right to it.
Let's tell everyone which. Okay, so you have it up so everyone can see. These are. I don't think there's any team here that feels like they don't deserve to be there. The biggest surprise might be, Colombia.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I haven't seen anything where it feels like they sort of backed into this. None of these teams have, sort of failed upwards. You know what I mean? We're now getting to the point where we're like, all right, any of these teams could potentially take the competition.
Even though, Sweden has been, one of the teams that are unbeaten in the tournament, but there's a little bit of, they didn't failing upward is not the word, but they were completely dominated by the U.S. in that game, and penalties be penaltying.
Hey, they bend but didn't break. You know what I mean? Look, it's a tactic. It's not the one I would go with, but it's a tactic,
and it worked perfectly. So, but in general, obviously the quarterfinal matches will be Spain against Netherlands, Japan, Sweden. On the left side of the bracket, and on the right side of the bracket, it's Australia, France, and England, Colombia. At least for me, the game I am definitely most excited about is England against Colombia. This is going to be a match where I really, England are now the odds have, the gambling odds have changed a lot with especially the U.S. being out of it. England.
That shifted everything.
Yeah, England is now, I believe, the favorites to win. And I think, so England are the favorites, but essentially this match against Colombia, especially with how England played against Nigeria, I would argue Colombia are probably I've said this a few times, but like just a well-balanced team defending and on offense. And I don't even know if it's necessarily an upset. It'll definitely be a shock because no one expects England to lose against probably just almost any South American team. But I think they can do it. I think this game is going to surprise a lot of people. Obviously, we have players like Linda Caicedo, who are one of the stars of this tournament. But I'm really, really excited about it. And not only because I'm Colombian during World Cups. It's not just that.
It's important. It's important to note is that you get a passport for the month.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a cool new service that Colombia is offering.
Yeah. Oh, you guys having trouble getting visas? Weird. I think what sucks is I think Colombia has a very well balanced team. They have the skill set at each level, whether it's defending, midfielders, or up top, to play with and potentially beat England. The problem I have, and it's not necessarily to do with on the pitch, is if England loses, there is a fear of mine that the fandom and the fanfare around the women's game in England would somehow be hurt by it. Well, they'd be like, you know what? Maybe they're not as good as we thought.
Right.
And maybe that momentum shifts. So for that reason and that reason only, the reason why I single out England is because I think Colombia has done enough now to really inspire Colombia. Obviously, those fans want to win, but I'm saying is that they've caught the attention and the wonderment of their nation. We've heard that from Melissa Ortiz. We've heard that from so many of the fans. So I think now, if it's simply talking about off the pitch, if they were to lose, it wouldn't be seen as a detriment to the sport. I think they've done what they were going to do in order to build the sport up, especially in Latin America and Colombia. In England, in a league that I think is essential to the success of the women's game in the WSL, I would like this, feel-good feeling to continue. But that's probably not enough.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect, and I think it's maybe something unique to the women's game of there's a little bit of struggle Olympics. Who's really struggling more? Who's it gonna mean for?
Yeah. Who needs this more?
Who's dealing with the most toxicity and misogyny in their country that this would help, fix that or repair that a little bit or sort of turn the tide a little bit. And it's an interesting aspect. It shouldn't be one that is a factor.
It shouldn't be. And let me make it clear. I'm not suggesting that England should win because of that. I'm simply talking about the effect and how, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe the English fandom only continues from here. And they understand that their team is dealing with not only a lot of injuries, but now a very significant red card.
Yeah.
So maybe there's enough.
And we still haven't
you know?
gotten I haven't seen anything about what the Lauren James punishment is going to be. As of right
for now, we know it's this next
it's
game.
just one
for
game.
sure.
Yeah. So I haven't heard anything else. She did apologize.
She did.
And maybe that's enough for FIFA to be like, all right, okay, you feel bad about it, so maybe it's not going to be more than just one extra game. So we shall see. What game are you?
For me,
yeah,
I was gonna say for me it's Japan. Japan's next match. I just want to see, is it real? I know what we're gonna get out of Sweden. They're not all of a sudden gonna be tiki-taka all over the pitch. We know what we're gonna get. I think Japan in previous matches have shown how incredible they are on the counter. How their transition game is crazy efficient. Look, Miyazawa, for a lot of people came out of nowhere. For me in particular, I wasn't aware of her before this tournament, at least not to a high level. I've heard of her on the national team, but for her to be this effective right now, Golden Boot leader, absolutely incredible. For me, they also showed in their previous match that they are okay. They have tactics to have possession. And it feels like they're going to get a lot of possession in this game because Sweden is just like, hey, man, we don't want to touch it unless we're clearing it. You know what I mean? So to me, I think it's really going to be about whether they can break down Sweden. Another reason why I want Japan to win is because, retribution from Spain. I feel like they could potentially beat Spain in the semifinal.
Yeah.
But it would be what a matchup.
What a rematch.
What an absolutely incredible rematch.
Yeah, and I'm rocking my Japan rugby kit.
Rugby, yeah.
Which I got when I was in Japan, which is dope. I'm excited about this game too. I think I have this feeling that Japan are absolutely gonna wipe the floor with Sweden.
So I get that feeling too.
I mean the way they've handled every team that is, not only are they like, they're not squeaking by with a 1-0 win. They're beating teams that control the game and have possession, and they're beating teams with possession and with control. So clearly, there's a lot of versatility there.
Oh, they're undefeated. They're undefeated in the World Cup so far, and they've scored 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 goals. Do you know how many they've given up?
Maybe what? One? Only one?
One goal.
Wow.
One goal to Norway. They beat Zambia 5-0. They beat Costa Rica 2-0. They beat Spain 4-0. They beat Norway 3-1. I mean, this is that 4-0 against Spain. That was unprecedented. That was Japan's coming out party, bro. That's when we were like, oh, they for real.
Exactly.
Okay.